Waheguru Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ki Fateh. None of us want to see another tragedy happen where Sikhs were killed by a crazy gunman in Wisconsin. So I encourage all Sikhs to train with firearms and weapons so that we can defend ourselves and defend our Gurdwaras. Now, what is the likelihood of another one of these shootings happening? I think the likelihood is great. These hate crime groups, these hate groups like these white supremacists are on the rise in America, has been reported. And the FBI doesn't seem to want to take this seriously either. I'm looking now at a well-known Sikh website where they report on this. And it says here, the federal, state, and local governments are not taking this seriously, these hate crimes and these white supremacist group. These white supremacist movement at large has perpetually done heinous crimes fueled by hate and bias, often in the guise of a member gone rogue, as we have seen in Oak Creek in August 2012. They're very violent groups, and Sikhs need to defend themselves and start to develop a whole strategy and a knowledge with weapons and defense. I would encourage all Sikhs to read this article and to read other articles and videos that I've written about this subject. Now here you can see this is an article in a mainstream media that talks about these hate groups. This group that this Wade Michael Page belonged to was a white supremacist group. They go along with these hate philosophy of Adolf Hitler. They talk openly about using firearms in their lyrics. One talks about using a 9mm pistol and taking action. And this Wade Michael Page followed through with this. And there's no reason to believe that other people in these groups will do the same. It's believed that an Aryan group shot and killed this district attorney and his assistant district attorney over a couple months ago. And they're very violent. If you look at some of the articles and videos that they produce, you'll see that they don't care about dying. They are intent on killing or brutally attacking some of these minority groups, and especially Sikhs are so visible, wearing turbans and beards. Many people mistake us for looking like Taliban or other terrorist groups. So as society gets more divided by Sikhs who are especially successful in businesses, they see that they get jealous, basically, some of these hate groups. And I think that there'll be more and more attacks on Sikhs and other minority groups, for that matter, as well, that look different than these white supremacist groups. So again, I encourage all Sikhs to train with weapons, and it's part of our history too. We have a great history of defending not only ourselves, but those that can't defend themselves. We defended the Hindus' rights to believe the way they wanted to when the Mughals attacked India. And now we need to carry on this tradition in America. Here are Sikhs who fought in World War II, and they're carrying the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib in front of them. This is a proud tradition of defense with all weapons. I did some research here, was sent this article by a Sikh scholar, talks about how the Shastars, the weapons of the Sikhs, are highly revered and kept in places of our worship to remind us of this power of God, that we can learn this skill of using weapons and defense with weapons. It's part of our history, of Sikhs' history, is to have that skill with the weapons and know when to use them and how to use them. I encourage all Sikhs to look into this, to discover, as it says right here in this article, it says the sword, the saber, the scimitar, the axe, the musket, the shaft, the rapier, the dagger, the spear, these indeed are our saints. As Sikhs, we need to learn these things. And so for all those that may not think that guns are part of Sikh history, they are. And Guru Gobind Singh told us to not come before him without uncut hair and weapons. Now, I wrote a book which was published a couple months ago, which I talk about some of this in there, about the Sikh history and also about my history with rifles and handguns. I was a marksman when I grew up. My father was in the Marine Corps for 14 years and was at Pearl Harbor when it was attacked. So I encourage you to read my book and these other books about Sikh history. I'm coaching a rifle team now with juniors, and I encourage all Sikhs to come join this. This is in Yuba City, the junior rifle team. And now if you'd like to listen to this video I made about self-defense.
Today I want to talk a little bit about self-defense with handguns and other weapons as a result of all of these terrible shootings that have been happening in the United States. Now, especially, it's important to realize and to understand that we need to take measures to defend ourselves and our families with handguns in the wake of these horrible shootings that happened at the elementary school there in Connecticut. Now, it's a fact, unfortunately, that our society has these deranged people in it that have access to guns. And before I talk about how we can actually take specific measures to protect ourselves, I want to talk just a little bit about why this may be happening in our society. I listened to some of the news reports and to some of the other accounts of the shooting. And it seems that this young man who did the shootings was part of a broken home, and I suspect there was no worship of God or other spiritual things that were happening in his family. I have to research that some more. But my observation here in our American society is that all of these things will not change until we come back to worshiping God and to come back to the proper moral values that we should have in our families and in our society. So all of these things like global warming and other problems that we have, I believe, will be immediately solved once we get back to worshiping God and we get back to proper values. Now let's talk a little bit about the specifics about how we can protect ourselves in the meantime with firearms. I encourage people to go get a concealed weapons license. Usually, in most states, you can get these through your local sheriff's office or department. I just recently obtained a concealed weapons license through the Sutter County Sheriff here in California. And I have to say that it was a very good process. I've been around firearms since I was 11 years old, and I learned a lot myself about how to do self-defense and the laws concerning self-defense and where you can and cannot carry a concealed weapon. Now, I would say that if the teachers or staff would have been, somebody at that school would have been carrying a concealed weapon or had access to a weapon over 6 feet. So you're very close to the person that you're trying to stop. And a revolver will really do the trick. And it's lightweight also. That's the other factor. You can easily conceal it. Here, as you can see, all you have to do is put on the coat. This is for men. And women can conceal it maybe in a purse or other places. But you can see it's concealed here easily. Now, for that school situation, I think it would be appropriate for all schools and places like the Sikh Gurdwara, where there was a shooting, to have a weapon like this, a rifle. This happens to be a semi-automatic Ruger 223. It's based on the M14 that the military uses. It's capable of shooting as many as 20 or 30 rounds, and this would be good in order to hit the person in the head that was attacking if they were wearing a bulletproof vest like that deranged young man who was at the shootings there in Connecticut. If you're trained, you could easily shoot somebody in the head with this rifle. I tried out for the Olympics for 5 different times, and I know from experience that you could hit that person in the head if you were trained. This is another handgun that I have. It's another Smith & Wesson, again, another revolver. And you can see here that the hammer is shaved down in order to prevent any cut in the clothing or any place where it would get caught. And the shot fires 5 shots. Now, for those that may be Sikhs that are listening to this video, I want to remind you that Guru Gobind Singh Ji, who was our 10th Sikh Guru, encouraged us to train with weapons. And he encouraged his sons, he encouraged all of the Khalsa to get trained in weapons and to be able to defend ourselves, our families, and defend those that cannot defend themselves. So it's part of our history. And if you will read the history of the Sikhs, you will see that many times the Sikhs have fought battles against oppressive Mughals who attacked India. And the Guru Gobind Singh was compassionate as well. He wasn't just an aggressive monger. He was a true compassionate person. In fact, there's a story about how he shot arrows at the attacking Mughals, and then those with gold-pointed arrows, so that when they were found by their relatives, the relatives would have this gold in order to help them. So he was a very compassionate person. And so we want to be as